Well, hello. Welcome to Blockchain Brunch, where we spill the tea. The coffee is somewhere on my desk. The coffee is hot, and we're here to tell you about who's hiring in Web3. We want to talk about resume tips and questions that you guys have regarding the job market. This is our opportunity to connect with our network that we may not have. Not that we don't have time. I mean, it is that we don't have time. Please help. So I just made a post if you guys want to check it out. The post is about turning on alerts. So something that we do that I really enjoy is we repost jobs that we see, even if they're not with our clients. So turn alerts on so you can see those jobs. Trevor's going to be joining us in a moment. Everybody's favorite person. But don't be afraid to say hello. Let me get comments going. Let's hope they work this time. We're going to show comments on stage. I'm also going to open this. It's always like a super awkward, like quick transition to open up Blockchain Brunch. Hold on one second, guys. It's been a wonderful morning. Nick, welcome. Really, we're not working, are we, StreamYard? Nick, welcome. Super happy to have you here. Hi, everybody. Trevor's going to be joining us in a second. Again, we are reposting jobs that we see. So turn on alerts so you can see those jobs, get those notifications, and apply immediately, right? I think something that people forget about is engagement on LinkedIn and how important that really is. So when you see a job that's posted, don't just apply to the job. Comment on the post, reach out to the hiring manager. But we've got some real talk we got to talk about, which is applying to jobs. I'm all about applying to reach jobs. Hey, Tyler, good morning. Also, side note, this is a great way to like connect with other people. There's a ton of people in the room. We've got comments, like engage. Do the same thing on LinkedIn posts. Hey, Trev. Comment on people's LinkedIn posts. Bring attention to your profile, but don't apply to roles that are way too much of a stretch, right? If you're going to apply to those roles, fine, but make sure you're using people's times wisely, right? So if you are a executive assistant applying to a chief technology officer role, it sends a signal that's not necessarily the most positive signal. But on top of that, your hiring managers are already overwhelmed, right? I know with me, I'm getting 200 messages a day. We recently posted a job. It got 2,700 applicants in like 48 hours, right? Unmanageable. So just be thoughtful when you're reaching out to the company. Make sure you're actually a fit for the job and you can actually bring value. If you can, 100%, highly recommend you reach out. If you cannot, maybe keep your eyes on that company for something else to open, right? That might be a better fit. Something you guys need to know. When you apply to a job, it tracks it. So it'll say, Trevor has applied to this job on this date, this job on this date, this job on this date, whether it's LinkedIn or an internal applicant tracking system, this is documented. So you don't want to apply to a million jobs because the signal that it sends is, why is Trevor still looking for a job? It's been 3 years. Why is he still applying? And while you may be passionate about the company, instead of just applying willy-nilly, do try to reach out to hiring managers. And if they don't have an opportunity for you right now, you could say, hey, keep me in mind as you guys are growing in this specific area. I could bring a lot of value by doing X, Y, and Z. I guess what it is, candidates are really frustrated that people aren't getting back to them, and people are frustrated that candidates are wasting their time. You know what I mean? Like, it sucks. It's not a great, thing to share, but like, it's true. I mean, and the problem is that those messages of candidates that aren't a fit for the job, they just get left on red. They just get left on red, and then it becomes frustrating, and then it becomes disheartening, and then you have a grudge against the company. Side note really quickly, my AC went out last night at like 2:00 in the morning. So I'm on the struggle bus. It is
just come to Boston. It's like 65 here.
It is cooler outside than it is in my house right now. So can you hear the airflow? Because I have a little mini fan going. Can you hear anything? No background noise?
I'm good.
We've got a couple people, Matthew, hiring managers struggle to keep up. Lots of people want to jump into Web3. Absolutely agreed. I think, it's so funny. And it's not that I'm, dishing on anybody, but I'll have conversations with candidates and they're like, yeah, I could be interested in Web3, or yeah, I might do this job. Yeah, I would do this job. And it's like, oh, would you? Would you do this job? Because everybody and their mother wants to be in Web3. Everybody and their brother wants the job that you are. I'd do it. Like,
what's interesting, Em, is that, and I definitely agree with this sentiment, right? More people are interested about this industry than I can honestly keep track of. I lose track of the numbers that we get hit up each week, but the difference is that there are only so many people that are actually willing to do what they need to do to get into the space. Everyone wants to get into it. Everyone wants to get into shape. Everyone wants to become a millionaire. Everyone wants to have a nice car. Everyone wants to have a nice house. But like, who's going to actually do it? And I found that out of like the conversations that I've had, and we have a lot of conversations, I would say that maybe, and this might be honestly a stretch, maybe 5 to 10%. And I think honestly that might be overestimating. Maybe 5 to 10% of the people that I actually have conversations with actually are willing to do the work that it takes to get into the space. And that's by all the things that we're talking about. So for those people that are out there that might be feeling like, oh my God, like you're getting tens of thousands of applications. Every time we show up, it's talking about more and more people are talking about how they want to get into the industry. Even, despite whatever is going on with the market conditions, more people than ever are interested in the industry. But the competitive advantage for someone new that might feel like it's too late is that know that 95 to like 90% of your competition, they're just going to eventually, one, give up, or either two, they talk a lot and they're just not willing to actually do anything about it. So don't discourage yourself if you're new to this, or if it's your first time jumping into one of these sessions and you're hearing about like the number of people that are interested. You still have that competitive edge if you're willing to do the hard work. And that goes for not only this industry, but I think for any industry, especially one that's emerging.
Sorry, I just had a client message me. Always something. You know what I mean? Like, it's always something. I love it. I love how busy we are, but it is always something. Especially, it's like everybody needs something during blockchain brunch. So Tyler said, my struggle is understanding the companies. They mostly seem like startups, and I'm not looking for a startup role. What is your take on knowing how good a company is to enter? I might need new glasses. Which I just got these glasses. My vision is getting worse. So great question. Couple of things you can do. So if you don't want to work at a startup, don't look at startups. You can tell, based off their funding or when they were founded, if they're a startup. It's hard to determine, the knowing a company is good, right? So like it depends on what you define as good. Are we talking about the culture? Are we talking about the runway? Are we talking about, the product market fit? There's so many things that go into what is a good company. I do think there's a lot of startups in the crypto industry that are going to be very successful. There's a lot of benefits to working at a startup, right? You get on the ground floor, you get to grow with the company, you learn all these different things, right? Don't diss on startups. They're great. But if you are looking for a more established organization, go on LinkedIn, look at how many people are at each company. If the company has 200 plus employees, they're a more established organization, but we still have our challenges with more established organizations, right? Then we're getting into cultural challenges, we're getting into training, onboarding challenges, turnover. So, it depends on how you define a good company. We're really passionate about startups. Most of our clients are between 50 to 200 employees. I don't like to work with the enterprises, the larger companies. I'm not going to name them in case anybody's in the audience. But there's too much mixed reviews. You know what I mean? I'll talk to someone and they'll be like, oh my God, I love my job. And then I'll talk to someone else and they're like, this is the worst place to work. We're at the startup. It's a more what's the word I'm looking for? It's more of a community. I never want to call a company a family because you don't lay family members off and like no one wants to go to work with their mom. I mean, some people might, but I think the bigger the company, the higher the risk of a toxic culture or higher turnover. At startups, it's so ingrained and everybody's so close together that I think it's a completely different dynamic.
One of
Why
the
are you
things too,
LOLing
Em,
at me,
is
Darcy?
even with these established organizations, you can still have a startup feel, right? So, I mean, you look at Coinbase, right? This is a perfect example of a company that I would say is one of the more established organizations in our industry. But within that organization, they still have departments, right, with what they're building with base. And like that department, that unit within a more established organization is very much a startup feel. I mean, there are organizations that have been around for 5 or 6 years, but they're still evolving and they still feel like a startup, right? So I think that, if you have a reluctancy for wanting to join a startup, I would say, and I don't want to say this because I don't know how much longer people can kind of wait on the sidelines to get involved in this industry because the train is leaving the station, quite frankly. But even more established organizations like the JP Morgans of the world, they have a division called which was formerly Onyx, is now Connexus, right? That is a startup or a more, I would say, evolving unit or group within a much bigger, larger entity that's been around for hundreds of years. So even if you're with an established organization, there are still departments within it that can still very much feel like a startup. And quite frankly, I mean, if anything that has to do with crypto, blockchain, or Web3, it's evolving, it's continuing to evolve. And as this technology changes, aspects of that are going to translate to the actual kind of roles within these organizations. So, quite frankly, I think that every organization that you're going to feel that has anything to do with crypto, blockchain, or Web3 is going to have somewhat of a startup feel to that. And if that's not kind of where your risk tolerance is, this just may not be the industry for you right now at this point.
It's risky. Yeah, crypto's interesting. Sometimes I question my life choices. I think a lot of us do. But I mean, I love how fast paced the industry is. Every day is something new. There's new technologies, there's new things to read, there's new I mean, it's constant, right? If you are a ADHD friend, crypto's great. It's great for you. There's always something to look at, always something to jump onto. If you're more meticulous and grounded and, accustomed to red tape, probably not the spot for you. That sounded savage. I know that came off negative, but like, if you're not 100% in crypto, you're not going to get a job. Companies hire people that want to work for their companies. They don't just hire who comes in the door. You've got to be passionate about that specific company and what they're building and what they're doing and the people. So I had someone, I was on the phone with them, and they were like, yeah, I don't know a ton about crypto, but I'd be interested in joining. And it's like, how are you going to join a company when you know nothing about the product? You know what I mean? Especially as a senior level hire. If you're entry level, that makes more sense, right? You're learning, you're growing. But I just think that Randall Savage, I know. It's so frustrating when I get on the phone with people and they're like, yeah, maybe crypto. And it's like, yo, this is the best industry you could possibly be in. Like I am obsessed with crypto. I'm slightly obsessed with AI, but like crypto is one of the best industries you can be in. The reason that we started this company was because of the people. I come from financial services. Those are a bunch of crab apples. You know what I mean? You call someone, hey, I got a job for you, and they're like, never effing call me again. It's like, oh, okay. You call someone in crypto, and like, even if you don't have an agenda or a massive topic to discuss, there's always something that comes up in the conversation. And everybody is so kind for the most part, except for people in my DMs. You know who I'm talking to. And everybody is so nice, so willing to share, so willing to grow together. So that's something I'm really passionate about is crypto. And if you're not passionate about crypto, please don't blow me up on LinkedIn because I'm not going to make an impact. My clients.
Also too, it's like The passion aspect of it is huge, right? But it's so much more than that. And I think that people have this misconception of what the industry truly is like. Like, we want to be real. Yes, it's difficult. Yes, it's the markets are manic. Yes, there's a lot of uncertainty, but then there's also that upside, and we're taking a risk. This is not a once in a decade, opportunity. This is not a once in 100-year opportunity. This is once in like a generation. This is not even probably once in a lifetime opportunity. This is once in like a generational type of opportunity. So, like, before NASA started trying to send people to the moon, right? Like, there were huge risks to that. No one had ever done it before. But I think that, like, the people that wanted to get involved into it, they were massive risk takers. They could see the potential. They could see that they were going to be doing something that they could probably tell their grandchildren about, years and years and years down the line. So there's huge risk with it, but with huge risk come huge rewards. And I can't fathom anything else other than potentially AI, right? That being able to get in at still a very early level within the actual life cycle or the evolution of this type of technology. I mean, if you don't want to take that risk, I understand. But for me, I just don't see anything like this ever coming across again in my lifetime. And I'm all in. So I mean, if you don't have that same kind of mindset, take some time to evaluate if it is the right place for you. And more importantly, don't talk to just me and Emily and I, or other people. Like, talk to as many people as you possibly can. Talk to people that may have a different opposing view. Talk to people, from different protocols, different ecosystems. Talk to people from different communities. I know there's a tendency for sometimes there's kind of be this maxi behavior with our industry, which is a whole nother conversation. But you can learn from people that have different opposing views. You can learn from people that are coming from TradFi that have transitioned to the industry. You can learn from a degen. You can learn from someone that's a trader. You can learn from someone that's a hodler, right? You can learn from someone that has been in the industry for 10 years. You can learn from someone that's been in the industry for 6 months, because everyone that's gotten to this space, they have their own story and they have their own journey. And I think it's really a huge disservice, especially when I see a lot of this infighting between the different communities, or like this kind of tribalism towards a particular project. Because at the end of the day, guys, we have so much other competition, so many different naysayers and people that are trying to paint our industry in one particular way. And maybe we can get to the fighting and trying to get to the tribalism when we get to an industry that is $100 trillion industry. But at this point right now, we're still too small to have a lot of this infighting, and it seems kind of just like very juvenile and immature, quite frankly, at this point, right? Like, we need to be learning from one another. We need to lift each other up if we're going to have a shot at making this actually a legitimate asset class, and to be something that is going to revolutionize the way that not only finance is, but science, healthcare, all forms of technology, aviation. I mean, it's absolutely insane. So, like, come together, folks. Try to learn from one another. Have your opinions and your different viewpoints, and you can stand by that. But at the end of the day, we're only going to make it if we all are putting our best efforts to kind of help each other out. And all rising tides lift all ships, right? As I say.
So we've got some news. Let me clarify really quickly before we show this. We are passionate about crypto, but we started in Web 2. All of our candidates started in Web 2. So we have a massive network. Now, I reach out to these Web 2 companies that are going to be bridging into Web 3 because, like, let's be honest, every company is going to touch blockchain. Every single company. They may not know it yet, but they will. So we are launching something new. Trevor, can you see my screen?
I can't see anything. No, you haven't brought it up yet.
Hold on. We're launching something new, guys. So here's my idea. Don't tell anybody this. we're going to reach out to Web 2 tech, fintech, AI, SaaS, and help them bridge into Web 3. Something I'm very excited about. So if you are also looking for a Web 2 tech job, let us know. We're going to have a few openings. But again, the key to success here is we want to be building the bridge from Web 2 to Web 3. So I don't want anyone to think like, oh, Emily is getting out of crypto. I'm not. This is just my super sneaky way of helping these companies bridge. Well, because it's like I reach out to them and they're like, Emily, you're crypto. What are you doing? Like, don't call me ever again. And it's like, okay, heard, understood. You don't know you need me yet, but you definitely will. So super excited about this. I love our website, honestly. We have our screening framework. We're going to be redoing the Crypto Recruiters website. I just love the bright green. I think anybody that knows me knows I love a good bright color.
Probably like my shirt today then, huh?
I do like your shirt today. So guys, join us with the Tech Recruiters. You guys don't know her, but Adriana has been our sourcer for the last 5 years. We kind of keep her in the background because she's a little introvert. Okay, she's a lot introverted. But I'm so excited to push her to the front. It is time, Adriana. I know you're in the audience. You can do this. You're fantastic at social media. You're a great person, and I know you're going to help a lot of people. So super excited to finally push you into the spotlight. And thanks so much for taking initiative. All right, so let's see if some of the comments. There was someone that mentioned this. I'm not necessarily passionate about crypto, but more blockchain in general. I love the term immutable. Same, but we need to come up with a keyword that crosses all crypto, blockchain, Web3. So just so you know, when we say, me, Trevor, our team, says the word crypto, we mean the overall ecosystem. We just are called the Crypto Recruiters. It was funny. I saw someone post the other day on LinkedIn. They were like, the biggest flex is being in crypto without having the name crypto in your name, in the business name. And I was like, FML. Like, definitely lost out on that. Anyway, so there was that. I'd love to say hello to my friend Rob. TradFi veterans unite and pivot. That's actually an incredible, that would be a great tweet. Let me see.
But I think, it's interesting, right? Kind of going back to this, and within different communities, there are a lot of people that have a debate. Let's say a healthy debate on what crypto actually is. Some people say Bitcoin's crypto. Bitcoiners say that crypto is not Bitcoin. Whatever. At the end of the day, right? Without crypto, there would be no blockchain. Without blockchain, there would be no Web3. Without Web3 is all of the above and all encompassing, right? I guess that's the more general word to say everything that has to do with the ecosystem in the space would be falling under Web3. I guess that's kind of the more safe term. And that includes blockchain, crypto, digital assets, distributed ledger technology, crypto, whatever, right? At the end of the day, I think that we need to understand that it's not a crypto versus blockchain or blockchain versus crypto or crypto versus like it's all together. It all works together. You don't have a body, and you don't have a heart without a liver and without a kidney it's all together. It all works together, and you really wouldn't have one without the other. So it's kind of confusing to me when there are people that are like, oh, don't talk to me about crypto. It's just like I really love the blockchain technology. Well, without crypto, without Bitcoin, we would have never been able to have a blockchain in the first place. We wouldn't have even been able to talk. It all evolves. It's all part of one another, and it all plays one on each other. So, I think that's kind of a really important distinction. So, a lot of the OGs that have been in this space, when we talk about crypto, we're talking about everything that is involved with crypto. Some people say that stable coins aren't crypto, right? It's like at the end of the day, I think that these debates once again, it's not necessarily really doing anything to push the industry forward. If anything, it's kind of putting us into these weird silos where we have a lot of this internal competition. and we should all be putting the best minds and the best like talent together, so that we're just really trying to bring it to the next level, which I quite frankly think that we will. And it's moving at a pace right now that it's just really, really, really interesting. So I'm super excited to kind of even see what's in store for next year. It's crazy that we're talking about next year, because we're still in this quarter and we still got a lot of this year left. But people in the space, we're starting to kind of think about like Q1 2026, what's going on. Like a lot of organizations, they're putting out their product roadmap. They're having a lot of releases. Like there's a lot of talk with a lot of crazy stuff that's going to be happening in October and going into the end of this year. So like we are still at a point where it's just so fascinating and there's so much potential. And the book is still being written right now. The ink on the pages is not even dry. So if you're really interested about this, try to find your own niche and potentially where you can bring value. And I think that you really, put yourself for an opportunity to get a good head start over other people.
There is something I want to share also, Matthew. Who said they weren't? I will beat them up. Let me know. So I have something to tell you guys that you might not necessarily like, but because we're all girls here and friends, I'm going to tell you. So, and I know this is going to be like really shocking and disturbing. So we're a business. We have bills to pay. We have food to buy. We have tools to pay for. So I deeply care for my candidates. I really do. But I can't do everybody's resume for free. And I need you to not be upset when I'm doing my job and don't have time to take on, free resumes. So as an example, right? You have a gardener and you want the gardener to cut your grass. You pay the gardener, right? You have a chef and you want food, right? You pay the chef. You have a recruiter that can make an impact in your career and set you up for success. Pay the recruiter. So I would love to just share, stop being assholes to me and Trevor because we are doing our jobs and don't have time to do your resume. Like, I don't know. It just makes sense to me. Like I had someone that was so mean about it the other day. And I was like, I've got a lot of searches going on. I've got a day job. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. So guys, we are happy to help you with your resume. But if you're going to be a dick about it, I'm not helping. Like I don't, and I will remember that. I will remember the way you treated me, because the way you treat me is how you're going to treat people at your company. It's how you're going to treat the janitor if you're in an office. It's how you're going to treat the executive assistant. So I've had some vicious people in my DMs, which is like crazy because like, I'm so.
And these are, these people tend to be. These people tend to be the people that have absolutely zero time to comment on your comments. These are the same people that have zero time to show up to a live stream like this, where we're giving out free alpha every single week for years. These are the same people that don't have time to subscribe to our YouTube channel. These are the same people that don't have time to go back and review the previous sessions where we're giving out all this free alpha. These are the same people that probably never responded to you when they had a job and you reached out to them. But now all of a sudden, you have to become their main priority and drop every single thing that you're doing in your life to give them the immediate attention because you didn't respond to them after 5 minutes. Like, folks, like, let's start being a little bit more realistic and understand that, like, it goes back to this mindset. The people that I found to be most successful in this space tend not to have the me, only me mindset. And there's another comment that someone said, like, being mean to a recruiter or a hiring manager, or going online and posting about how your butt hurt that you didn't get a response back and you're the greatest candidate since Satoshi Nakamoto, and I don't understand why people aren't, like, that does nothing for you. If anything, other people are seeing what you're putting online. They don't forget. They share that with other people. Like, this space is super, super small. But also too, like, that negative mindset. Like, I just don't understand why there's this group of people that feel that it's only them and that, like, nothing else matters in the world. And I understand You need a job. Great. You know who else needs a job? 10 million other people.
And us. Hold on, I got a train.
And like we need jobs so that we can get jobs for other people, right? We need to go, like we're consistently going out every single day, grinding to have conversations, have partnerships, meet people. We're also qualifying and vetting these organizations so that we don't bring you BS clients, so that by the time that we get you involved, we've like these are months and months and months of building relationships. We have we have tons of these different new agencies popping up over and over again that pretend that they can actually be in crypto and actually do this the right way, and they're giving our industry a bad name, and they make it harder for us, so that when we have to approach a actual legitimate company, they've got burned by crappy, shitty staffing agencies that have just done it the complete wrong way. Then we have to build that trust back, get everything going on. I mean,
but wait, Trevor, don't forget, you're doing all of this while 24 resumes a day, right?
Yes, while doing resumes, while doing live streams, while doing podcasts, while going to networking events, while doing content. And like, this is not us bitching, guys. Like, this is us telling you that like this is real. So understand that, like, you know, if you're not getting a response back immediately, it's not necessarily us. It's what's it about you? Like, how's your messaging? Are you actually, once again, qualified for the roles, right? Take some time to make sure that like it's not just Emily and I, it's everyone, every hiring manager, every recruiter that you have an opportunity to touch base with. Like, look at the job description, look at your resume, and have a real true heart to heart. If you can't do 60% of what they're asking for in the job confidently, if you truly can't feel confident that you can get a 60% or higher as a score, then don't apply for the job. Or, you know, if you want to apply for the job, understand that you may not get an immediate response. Understand that like you have to do a little bit of massaging, you have to do some selling, you might have to do some volunteering, you might have to, you know, reach out and meet a recruiter at, you know, somewhere where they're actually at. You might actually have to travel and meet them you might have to offer them to have a coffee. Like, you might actually have to pay to get something that you want to get in terms of your results. And what I mean by pay for something, it doesn't necessarily mean like you have to physically pay them money, but you have to pay something. You have to pay with your time. Everyone wants to get into this industry and put zero effort into it. Like, your recruiter should not be the main person that you are depending on to get your job. Your recruiter is a partner. Your recruiter is someone that you have a relationship with. A relationship does not mean, hey, you know what, Trevor, I'm looking for a job. Kick my feet up, go chill, go to the beach, go hang out, go smoke a dude, go have a drink, go. Like, that's not the way it works. You have to put in the time and effort. You have to go out there and apply to jobs. If you're applying to 10 jobs and it's not working, guess what? Do 20. 20 jobs you apply to is not working, do 40. 40 jobs, it's not working, do 80. 80 jobs you apply to, it's not working, do 160. If that's not working, do 1,000. Just don't give up. But understand that like you have to be putting in, if not as at least as equal amount of effort as the recruiter or the hiring manager or anyone that you're working with to get you a job. You have to put in at least the amount of effort. And I can't even, like, the stuff that you see that we're doing in these live streams, this is probably what, like 5% of all the thing that we're doing to get where we are right now, and to be continuing to uplift and help our community and actually put the people that we're working with to work. So like, understand that like, we know this can be emotional. We understand that it can be tough and can be challenging. But all the people out there that put in the time and effort and the hard work and the dedication and the sacrifices and the late nights and the no sleeping and the hair turning gray and the losing hair and like all this stuff, we don't care if it's hard for you to get a job, right? Because we had to go and do that ourselves. And we don't necessarily have the time or the compassion for people that are just going to complain about how hard it is without actually doing anything to change their personal situation. Like, that's just not the way it works, not only in this industry, but it doesn't work for anything like this in the real world. So when you're going online and you're venting, yes, it's good to vent. And, you know, that's what we're here for, right? But when you're going online and talking about like, it's not fair or it's just hard or I couldn't do this, and like, it's a defeatist mindset. And I guarantee you that no one that's actually gone and put the time and effort like Emily and I and everyone else has gotten into the industry to make it here, no one feels sorry for you. No one like, I'm sorry to say it, but like no one cares. And like you have to have that understanding that like no one's going to save you. Shouldn't be waiting around for someone to save you. That's just completely against, I think, the whole ethos of crypto. Do you have to go out there? You have to do it. You have to do more than most people are doing. And unfortunately, for some reason, there tends to be this mindset that like you can do the bare minimum and just kind of just sit back and relax and just ride someone else's coattails. And eventually you'll just wake up one day and someone out there is going to give you a call and want to give you a job and take on all the risk in Web3 with you having not to put in any risk. So like, it just doesn't make sense, guys. So please help us help you by taking to heart what we're saying. Truly go out there. Like, if you have the rare opportunity to actually make a connection and build a relationship with someone like Emily and I or anyone else in this industry, and we give you the shot and we're actually trying to help you, don't waste our time. Don't waste our time. I've lost track of how many people that I've had heart to hearts with. They begged and begged and begged and begged. Can you review my resume? Can we have a conversation? I want to get in. I want to get in. I want to do this. I want to do this. Trevor, please. Okay. I don't have the time, but you know what? I'm going to make that time for you. I sit down and have an hour and a half conversation with this person. I give them all of my knowledge. I share all the tips and tricks. They don't do anything. They do zero. So why do you think Emily and I are going to just jump to the thousands of messages we get? Because honestly, most of the time, people just waste our time and they don't do anything with what we're telling them to do. So like, it's not productive, and like, you're not going to win that way. So I know this is kind of like this might seem harsh to some people. And if it does, okay, now you've got a slice. Now you've got 0.01% of what it's actually like to work in this industry. So if like you can't handle our realness and like how we're being candid and what we're really trying to tell you what this industry is like, if you can't handle this, then exit out, like leave, run away. Don't ever try to get into crypto again, because this is what it's like every single minute of this industry. And that's why I'm so passionate about. That's why Emily's so passionate about it. That's why the real builders and the real people that have grinded out have seen Bitcoin go to 18, 30, 12, 70. Like, this is insane. Like, and if you can't get over this, then you're not going to make it. You're not. And that's honestly, I would say this is probably the realest that Emily and I have been in a long time when it comes to this. But we want to let you guys know that this is what it's really about. So we want to be real with you. And I think that most people that when you work in this space, we're real like this. So like, if this has put in a fire underneath you, if this has made you more motivated, if this makes you more bought in, then you know that this is the space for you. And that's all I got to say about that.
Love that. One of our philosophies at the Crypto Recruiters and to be the tech recruiters is like, we're not everybody's cup of tea. Not everybody is going to like you. And like, that's okay. You probably don't want to work with them anyway. Like, that's my philosophy. Like, you may not like my content. You may not like, I'm trying to think what else people couldn't possibly like about me, because like, I'm not saying that I'm perfect, but like, I'm really trying to think, like, other than my lack of response time. Sorry, I don't mean to come off.
People might not like, you know, they might not like you being direct.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, people have had issues with that for sure. But like, here's the thing, you know, this is a great point from Matthew. If you give 15 minutes to everyone who tries to talk with them, we never get to sleep again, for real. But, you know, I think I wanted to tell this story. Sorry to kind of backtrack. So, I have the most incredible fiance. I'm actually getting married this December. And my fiance has a best friend. And for my fiance's best friend, of course, I'm going to help him with his resume and give him interview prep. and all this fun stuff. But I have redone his resume. The same thing, 4 or 5 times. 4 or 5 times. And every time he calls me and he's like, hey, will you help me with my resume? And then I look at it, I'm like, you did absolutely nothing that I told you to do. And it's just a huge waste of time. And literally, like, I just want to, he's so lucky he's best friends with my fiance. I will tell you that. But that happens all the time. Is like, we'll talk to people, we'll do these live events, and people don't take our feedback. They want it, but they don't implement it. And then they're like, hey, Emily, will you do this again? And it's like, no. And so here's the thing, you know what Trevor and I are talking about? Yes, it's real. I understand it's coming off as negative. And I definitely don't want to, waste your guys' time with a bunch of negativity. I think what we're trying to get across is like, we love what we do. I'm trying to figure out the best way to say this in a positive way. We
have to love it just as much.
Yeah, you gotta love it just as much as we do. You know what I mean? Like, and just be nice, be kind. You know what I mean? Like, there was something earlier. Oh, thank you for the congratulations, guys. We've been engaged for 6 years. We're getting married on our 10-year anniversary. So I had not had time to plan a wedding. So it was actually really funny. He came because I'm so busy doing people's resumes. How am I supposed to plan a wedding when I'm doing resumes for free? Just saying. But yeah, I literally have not had time over the last 6 years since we've been in business to plan a wedding. Like, I don't know. It's like, we're going to go out of our way. We're going to do all this stuff and we just get shit on, and I'm exhausted from it. So just want to thank you guys for listening. There's 33 people in the room. We appreciate you. And most of you guys are actually proactive. And I think that's another part of it. You have to be proactive in your job search because it sends signals to the hiring manager about what it's going to be like to work with you, right? So if you're not proactive, they're not going to be impressed. You know what I mean? Torsten, the wedding resume. I am not, incredible. He was like, do you still want to get married? I was like, yes, I still want to get married. I just literally been doing everybody's resumes. We got to stop cursing on this. I'm really being well-behaved right now. But going back to like people not liking us, if you can't handle the truth, you're not going to be able to handle crypto. People are direct. They don't have time to sugarcoat things. There's a lot of autonomy. There's a lot of follow-up. It's not like a super cushy, comfortable. It's not a comfortable industry. It is constant grinding, constantly online. What is work-life balance? I am unfamiliar. I didn't even know that word existed. So, that's one of the questions I ask people is, how important is work-life balance to you?
Yeah.
And you'd be surprised with how many unemployed people say it's incredibly important. I get it. We all want a life. I hear you. 6 years to plan a wedding. I hear you. But that's just not crypto. That's not Web3. That's not blockchain. This is the market doesn't stop. You know what I mean? Like, it's 24/7. So you also have to be 24/7 and prepared to dedicate your time to this. Here's the thing, this isn't just a job.
Yeah.
You're affecting the future of the world. Like we said earlier, every company is going to touch blockchain. So if you get in at a startup, I don't know, that's mainly doing manufacturing on the blockchain, right? You can have such an impact, but in order to make an impact, it takes a lot of work. I don't know what else to tell you. If you want to make an impact, if you want to do something strong, something significant, it takes hours. Sorry, hold on one second. Trevor, go ahead if you had a follow-up to that.
Yeah, it's about the sacrifice. I think that in this type of industry, there can be a work and life balance, right? But it's going to take you time to get there. And, at the early stages, you're going to have to sacrifice, time that you're going to be spending with family and friends. You're going to have to put that vacation that you wanted to go on. You're going to have to push that to the side, right? You're going to have to go sometimes weeks, months without, having a paycheck or have income coming in, right? Like there's so many different things that you have to be aware and be prepared for. And like that's the last thing that I want to do, is just sugarcoat what it's like, because for all those things that we're talking about, right, like there are converse upside to it. For every type of struggle, and all the things that I'm sacrificing right now kind of in the short term, I'm thinking about, where am I going to be 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now? Do I want to have a legacy, right? Like if I had the mindset to actually like want to work for one of those FANG companies in the early 2000s, like everyone just wanted to buy an iPhone, an iPad. No one was actually investing in Apple. No one actually wanted to work at Apple. Now, if you were one of the early employees at Apple, or if you had a bought stock in Apple instead of actually buying that iPhone when it first came out, you'd probably be a millionaire right now. You'd probably be a multi-millionaire right now. If you work for that company, you'd probably have all sorts of godly stock options, and that would be worth insane amounts of money. But you know what? Back then, it was also uncertain for Apple. Back then, it was also uncertain for the Amazon. Back then, they didn't really know what their product was, and it's evolved tremendously to what it is today. We're repeating that history, but I equate what was happening in the late 90s, early 2000s with the dot-com boom. I equate that to, a firecracker and crypto, blockchain, Web3. This is an atomic bomb, right? This is going to change things in a way that we've never been able to fathom ever. So like, this is your shot to get involved in it. And you're going to have to take sacrifices. You're going to have to take losses. And a lot of those quote unquote losses that I thought at the time were losses, it made me evolve and it made me learn something. And I gained so much from those experiences, those low moments, and those times where I thought that like I couldn't see the light at the end of the tunnel. But now that I look back at it in hindsight, and I realize that those were very influential in my development, my understanding, right? Like I am so much smarter as not only an investor, but also someone that's just knowledgeable about the way that this industry moves with cycles and the psychology behind it. Like for people that are newer to crypto, right? And they might have started investing in it. This is not financial advice, but they're starting to invest in it, and they start to see like prices of stuff going down. Like they're like, oh my God, like, am I making the right choice? Like for me, now that this is probably my third or fourth rodeo of seeing markets go up and down, I know I'm prepared now. I say, oh, I've seen that before. I'm not worried. I know what happens. I know that there are narratives. I know that this is going on. I know that this is going to impact the industry, but I know that there's going to be that rebound. And when things are going up, I'm preparing for the down. When things are going down, I'm preparing for the up. That's what you have to do in this industry. So this is probably, like I said before, one of the realest sessions that we've had, but we want to let you know that this is the type of stuff that you're going to have to deal with every single day. A day in the life of this industry can feel like, quite frankly, a month in others. And that's the beauty of it. That's the excitement of it. And that's the potential that you have. And that's the upside. So put the time and effort and energy into this right now. It may feel like, this is all that you have, or this is your entire life. And truly it can be. It's like, this is your baby right now, and you're going to have to put in the time and effort to watch it grow. But at a certain point in time, right, 5, 10 years, 15 years, then you're not going to have to put that same amount of energy and attention into that child, which is yours, as you would have obviously early in the infancy stages. And I feel like at some point, depending on what type of area or what kind of part of the interest that you are in this industry, it could still feel like it's very much is still in its infancy. So, embrace it. Take all the bad with the good, and understand that for all these things that we're talking about, this is not us complaining. We're trying to help you be aware of it and understand that for all these things, the same amount of time that we're talking about the frustrations, we can talk to you about the positives. And there's way more positives. There's way more of that than we can even talk about, honestly, in this conversation. So, but you won't even be able to know what the good is of this industry unless you've experienced what the quote unquote bad is. And when I look back at things, what I thought was bad, I realized that it really wasn't that bad in the first place. And I learned so much from it that now I'm good. So just understand that.
We probably won't do this again, have such real talk, because I do think it came off a little negative. But if we're frustrated, so here's the thing. You'll know if you're a good recruiter in the first 6 months, because you're either going to burn out or you're going to do great, right? So if we, the veterans, are frustrated, these junior recruiters are just going to give up. They're just going to give up. They're just going to be like, I can't do this. It's too much pressure. Just be nice. Lead with kindness. That's probably the most important thing I could say. Don't burn bridges, especially with, people back channel people with me all the time. I have hiring managers that I've got great friends with, and they'll be like, hey, do you know Joe Schmo? Now, I'm really big on karma and reputation.
Yes.
So I don't ever want to have the reputation for bashing people, but I will let them know if I would take them on as a client or a candidate or not. Right. So I don't know. Not everybody is as not spiteful as we are. So be careful out there. There are people out there that they're going to take a screenshot of your savage message and send it to your boss.
Yeah.
Like, people don't, like, if you're going to be mean, don't do it in writing at the very least. I don't know. Anyway, guys, I've got to go to my next call. Wonderful to see all of you. Thank you guys for coming. Thank you for understanding where we're coming from. We really appreciate it. Just a quick side note for whoever is blowing me up on Telegram right now. Stop. Just, I have your messages. Yes, I'm in the middle of a live, so I will get back to you.
Thank you all for joining us. We're going to have some awesome episodes of Just Chilling coming up. Do we have another episode of Bullish On coming up soon?
Bullish On? No, because I've been so busy doing people's resumes. But we do have just kidding. We do have a Twitter space on Friday where you can actually come talk. It's not just chatting. Come join me. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk about your resume. It's free. Everybody wants to be free stuff. Okay, great. I'm going to give it to you. You just got to come. Yes. I will help.
Come for sure.
All right, guys. We'll see you later. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Really appreciate all your support, and thanks for picking us. We know you got a lot of options out there, so thanks for coming to us. We're here to help, mostly. All right. Bye, guys.